As I mentioned, we are going to get to Cyclone news shortly, but we have some developing news exclusive here on Footy Classified about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan and the Western Bulldogs. We can reveal to you tonight a couple of different things. One being is that he has trained fully for the last 3 weeks, really since the Indigenous All-Stars game in Perth. That is a positive, but it is more than just his physical conditioning that we can tell you tonight that he has to get past in order to be available for AFL selection. There are 3 key relationships that Jamarra Ugle-Hagan has to fix in order to be considered for selection again. One is with the coach, Luke Beveridge, another the captain, Marcus Bontempelli, and another a senior teammate and a man who he lived with for several months at the end of last season, that being Rory Lobb. Now, gentlemen, as we bring you in here, it is my strong belief, and having had confirmation about this from key members at the Western Bulldogs and at the kennel today, this is much more than just a guy coming back that needs his own pre-season, that needs to come through the VFL and all will be forgiven. Luke Beveridge, a couple of weeks ago, addressed his players and said that he would not risk selection integrity. He would not risk losing the trust, Damo, of some of his other players by bringing this guy back in too soon.
Does some of this get back to losing the trust with the decision they made and he made as a coach last year to play him in the elimination final against Hawthorn, having, I believe, Sam, and I believe you got the same information too, internally there was a decision made that he wasn't going to be selected for reasons that relate to what he's going through personally, but also the behavioural component to that period of time frame?
Yeah, I think all of that's correct, and potentially, you know, everything's easier in hindsight. They wouldn't have played him in this game. He wasn't able to train, as you mentioned, Damo, who was dealing with some personal issues at the time. It's not just about this. I mean, look, he had 4 disposals. What was he the difference of them winning and losing that elimination final? Probably not, given Jimmy the way that they defended on the night. But this is much more than just about that. This is the way that he has conducted himself in the summer, in the off-season, the fact that he hasn't been able to train. We know it's a complex situation and there are several layers to this, Lordo, but you've been a captain, you've been a player in these circumstances. Trust within the playing group is a major thing.
Oh, it's everything. And I'll never forget whenever, say, 8 draftees were drafted into your football club, I could tell within 2 to 3 weeks who had won my trust and who I thought, geez, I'm not sure how long they're going to last. Like the average AFL career is 3.5, 4 years. And so to hear you say Jamarra's put in 3 weeks of training, I laugh at that because I think to myself, how did Clayton Oliver go last year without a pre-season? He was awful.
He was chasing his tail the whole year.
Chase his tail, you get soft tissue injuries, you get injuries. So one thing is lack of conditioning, and the second thing is when you don't have the respect of the coaches and the players, like he didn't when he didn't have it when he first got to the club. How long did Luke Beveridge make him wait to play a game of football? A long, long time.
So that's what I was going to ask him. You touched on it, and Lloydie's touching on it there. The spectre will be on Jamarra Ugle-Hagan in the VFL. So are they going to make him play 4 or 5 weeks before he comes back in?
Absolutely.
In regards to that selection, I guess, integrity?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But as I mentioned off the top, it's even more than just, you know, the playing and getting the form under his belt. You know, Marcus Bontempelli went through a similar circumstance a year earlier with Bailey Smith going through his ACL reconstruction. You know, a lot of Bulldogs people that I've spoken to talked about how the captain took a lot of his personal time to help Bailey get through some of his issues that he was dealing with. The captain has done the same again with Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, taking him to a gym, taking him to a PT, training with him off-site, trying to get this guy, you know, back to where they all want him to be. And I think the captain has been left frustrated by some of the circumstances.
It takes some doing to have Marcus Bontempelli lose his back, to lose Marcus Bontempelli's back.
Yeah, and just on that for you both of you, and Jimmy knows that, the problem in footy clubs is it's the one player who's taking everybody's energy, time, energy. So it might be the sports psychologist, it might be the fitness coach, it's the captain, it's the coach. And it's just it can only last so long. And if he wasn't the number 1 draft pick, he's probably gone by now. So he's got to realise that his career will be over within 2 or 3 years.
So you think his talent has saved him to a degree?
Oh, absolutely. It always does for these high-end players. But if he was somebody else, he may well have been out of the system.
And the difficult thing here for Luke Beveridge, he's under the pump, but they need him playing for one of 2 reasons. They either need him playing to help Luke Beveridge win now, or they need him playing if the plan is to eventually move him on. Because you can't sit in the VFL and then expect maximum value at the trade table, if that is the plan.
And then you look to the contract situation. 2026, he's contracted too. I fully believe the Brisbane Lions had earmarked him as one of many on a short list of candidates to replace Joe Danaher in 2026. Now, I know they're revisiting that as a club, if indeed he was on that short list. I know they're having reservations about all of that. So that, to your point, he's not playing till halfway through this year on the back of what you've revealed tonight, Sam.
And it hurts because you've gone through their injury list, Damo, in other forums the last few days with Treloar, Liam Jones, Bontempelli, Jamarra is fit. He should be fit and playing. But then on top of that, when you have all those injuries and then over the off-season you have these players leave because they wanted to leave or because you felt they were better off going somewhere else.
So you're saying it's testing their depth without the likes of these?
Absolutely. Like, you look at this over the years, like they have hurt badly, and you look at to lose 3 players of that ilk, yes, it's freed up a lot of salary cap room, but I look at guys like Caleb Poulter, Bramble, and even young Davidson, who hopefully will be a good player. He's a 24-year-old off the Richmond VFL. These are guys that are now playing for the Western Bulldogs when I rate them as all Australian-type players who are now gone.
Is that on Luke Beveridge?
I think a lot of it has been, I've been critical of Luke in regards to they're too good to be playing VFL football and somehow they get played out of form or position.
The irony about this, Damo, is that, and we know Luke Beveridge is under the pump, that all the injuries and the Jamarra Ugle-Hagan stuff and the stuff that is to a degree out of his control may end up buying him more time.